One of the major risk factors for heart disease is a poor diet that is high in saturated fat, trans fat, sodium, sugar, and cholesterol. These foods can increase your blood pressure, cholesterol, triglycerides, and inflammation, which can damage your arteries and lead to heart attacks, strokes, and other complications. The good news is that you can lower your risk of heart disease by eating a balanced diet that is rich in fruits, vegetables, whole grains, lean protein, and healthy fats. You can also improve your heart health by avoiding or limiting some of the foods that are bad for your heart. Here are 8 foods to avoid for better heart health and some healthier alternatives to try instead. So, let's get started. 1. Ice cream. Ice cream is a creamy and refreshing dessert that can cool you down on a hot day, but it is also high in calories, fat, sugar, and cholesterol, which can increase your weight, blood sugar, and triglycerides and increase your risk of heart disease and diabetes. According to the USDA, the average American consumes about 23 pounds of ice cream per year, which is more than the recommended amount. You don't have to avoid ice cream entirely, but you should limit your intake to no more than half a cup per day, which is about the size of a tennis ball. You should also choose low-fat or fat-free ice cream, which is lower in calories and fat and higher in calcium and protein, or frozen yogurt, which is lower in fat and cholesterol and higher in probiotics, which are beneficial bacteria that can improve your digestion and immunity. You can also try making your own ice cream at home using frozen bananas, which are naturally sweet and creamy, and adding some cocoa powder, peanut butter, or vanilla extract, which can add flavor and nutrition to your ice cream. 2. Butter and margarine. Butter and margarine are both sources of fat that are used for cooking, baking, and spreading on bread, toast, or crackers. Butter is made from animal fat, which is high in saturated fat and cholesterol, while margarine is made from vegetable oil, which is high in trans fat and hydrogenated oils. Both types of fat can raise your LDL, bad cholesterol, and lower your HDL, good cholesterol, which can increase your risk of heart disease and stroke. According to the American Heart Association, you should limit your intake of saturated fat to no more than 5% to 6% of your total calories and avoid trans fat as much as possible. Instead of butter and margarine, you can use healthier fats such as olive oil, canola oil, avocado oil, or coconut oil, which are rich in monounsaturated and polyunsaturated fats that can lower your LDL cholesterol and raise your HDL cholesterol. You can also use nut butters such as almond butter, peanut butter, or cashew butter, which are high in protein, fiber, and antioxidants. You can also try using non-fat or low-fat yogurt, hummus, or mashed avocado as spreads or dips, which are creamy, tasty, and nutritious. 3. Cheese. Cheese is a delicious and versatile food that can be enjoyed in many ways, such as on pizza, sandwiches, salads, or crackers. Cheese is also a good source of calcium, protein, and vitamin D, which are important for your bone health. However, cheese is also high in saturated fat, sodium, and cholesterol, which can raise your blood pressure and cholesterol and increase your risk of heart disease. According to the USDA, the average American consumes about 23 pounds of cheese per year, which is more than twice the recommended amount. You don't have to avoid cheese entirely, but you should limit your intake to no more than 1.5 ounces per day, which is about the size of 4 dice. You should also choose low-fat or fat-free cheese, such as cottage cheese, ricotta cheese, mozzarella cheese, or feta cheese, which are lower in calories and fat and higher in protein and calcium. You can also try using nutritional yeast, which is a vegan cheese substitute that has a nutty and cheesy flavor and is high in vitamin B12 and protein. 4. Processed meats. Processed meats are meats that have been cured, smoked, salted, or preserved with chemicals, such as bacon, ham, salami, hot dogs, sausages, and deli meats. These meats are high in sodium, nitrates, nitrites, and other additives that can raise your blood pressure and increase your risk of heart disease and stroke. According to a study published in the journal Circulation, people who ate the most processed meats had a 42% higher risk of heart disease and a 19% higher risk of type 2 diabetes than those who ate the least. Instead of processed meats, opt for fresh, lean, or organic meats, such as chicken, turkey, fish, or grass-fed beef. You can also try plant-based proteins such as beans, lentils, tofu, tempeh, or nuts. If you do eat processed meats, choose low-sodium or nitrate-free varieties and limit your portion size to no more than 2 ounces per day. 5. red meat. Red meat, such as beef, pork, lamb, and veal, is a good source of protein, iron, zinc, and vitamin B12, but it also contains a lot of saturated fat and cholesterol, which can raise your LDL, bad cholesterol, and increase your risk of heart disease. Red meat also contains a compound called carnitine, which is converted by gut bacteria into a substance called trimethylamine N-oxide, TNAO, which can cause plaque buildup and inflammation in your arteries. A study published in the journal Nature Medicine found that people who ate more red meat had higher levels of TMAO and a higher risk of heart disease than those who ate less or none. You don't have to give up red meat completely, but you should limit your intake to no more than 3 ounces per day, which is about the size of a deck of cards. You should also choose lean cuts of red meat, such as sirloin, tenderloin, or round, and trim off any visible fat before cooking. You can also replace some of the red meat in your diet with fish, poultry, or plant-based proteins, which are lower in saturated fat and cholesterol and higher in omega-3 fatty acids and fiber. Before we continue, if you're enjoying this video, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. It really helps us, and let us know what kind of content you want to see more of. 6. Pastries and baked goods. Pastries and baked goods, such as cakes, pies, cookies, muffins, donuts, croissants, and pastries, are tempting treats that can satisfy your sweet tooth, but they are also loaded with sugar, refined flour, butter, and trans fat, which can spike your blood sugar, increase your triglycerides, and lower your HDL, good cholesterol, which can increase your risk of heart disease and diabetes. According to the CDC, added sugars account for about 17% of the total calories in the average American diet, which is more than the recommended limit of 10%. Instead of pastries and baked goods, you can choose healthier desserts, such as fresh fruits, dried fruits, dark chocolate, yogurt, or granola bars, which are lower in calories and fat and higher in fiber, vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants. You can also make your own baked goods at home using whole wheat flour, oatmeal, nuts, seeds, bananas, applesauce, or honey, which are more nutritious and less processed. You can also use spices, such as cinnamon, nutmeg, or vanilla, to add flavor and sweetness without adding sugar. 7. Fried foods. Fried foods, such as French fries, chicken nuggets, onion rings, or mozzarella sticks, are crispy and tasty, but they are also high in calories, fat, sodium, and acrylamide, which is a chemical that forms when foods are cooked at high temperatures and can cause cancer and nerve damage. Fried foods can increase your weight, blood pressure, cholesterol, and inflammation, which can increase your risk of heart disease and stroke. According to the American Heart Association, you should limit your intake of fried foods to no more than once per week. Instead of fried foods, you can choose baked, grilled, roasted, or steamed foods, which are lower in calories and fat and higher in nutrients and flavor. You can also use an air fryer, which is a device that uses hot air to cook foods without oil, which can reduce the fat and calories by up to 75%. You can also use herbs, spices, lemon juice, or vinegar to add flavor and zest to your foods without adding fat or sodium. 8. Salt. Salt, or sodium chloride, is a mineral that is essential for your body's fluid balance, nerve function, and muscle contraction, but it is also a major contributor to high blood pressure, which can increase your risk of heart disease and stroke. According to the CDC, the average American consumes about 3,400 milligrams of sodium per day, which is more than the recommended limit of 2,300 milligrams per day, or about 1 teaspoon of salt. Most of the sodium in your diet comes from processed and packaged foods, such as bread, cheese, soup, sauce, or snack foods, which can have hidden salt that you may not be aware of. You can reduce your sodium intake by reading nutrition labels and choosing foods that are low in sodium or have no added salt. You can also cook your own foods at home using fresh or frozen ingredients and avoiding canned or preserved foods, which are high in sodium. You can also use herbs, spices, garlic, onion, lemon juice, or vinegar to add flavor and aroma to your foods without adding salt. You can also use salt substitutes, such as potassium chloride, which can lower your blood pressure and have a similar taste to salt. Share with us your experiences and opinions in the comments below. Thanks for watching.